that.
Yeah, no worries. So we're back. So what I wanted to go to next is you start as a vegan. When did you kind of start to evolve into, okay, for you being vegan was the start, but you felt that you had to possibly do more for the animals. So when did your vegan activism begin?
It slowly, just a little bit at a time. So at first it was, I felt like it was enough to just turn vegan, and that was pretty exciting to eliminate all the animal products from not just my diet, but from like the products I bought, as far as like I don't buy items that test on animals. So if a brand tests on animals, so like cruelty-free products, I don't buy leather. So to omit all of that from my life at first was an effort, just not like an effort like it was so hard, but just to be mindful of it. Took a little bit of time to be like, oh wait, this thing I used to buy, now I don't want to support that with my dollar vote. So that did take a little bit of time. And then once I got all that down, and now that's all just second nature, like buying leather or buying something by a company that tests on animals just isn't in my domain. Then I wanted to do more. So the first protest I ever went to was at SeaWorld. So peaceful protests are my jam. So this is where the art started to get into it, is I wanted to make a protest sign because I was watching Blackfish and sobbing. So I got out my poster and board and some like Sharpies, and I drew my first protest sign, and some friends on Instagram had said, come to the protest. So I was the only vegan in my life, and I didn't know anyone in real life that was vegan. This is like every vegan story at first is all of your vegan friends are on like Instagram. So I was excited to go interact with other vegans and stand up for the whales, because that was just, I think people don't realize what they're supporting when they go to something like SeaWorld. I didn't. And so as soon as I was alerted to it, I wanted to share that information with others in a peaceful, like respectful way. So I started drawing my signs and drove down to SeaWorld and connected with a lot of people. Like I know PETA was there for a lot of those protests, and some folks that are with Mercy for Animals were there. So it was really nice to start to get to know other people who were concerned for animal welfare. So I did a few SeaWorld protests. I even had students go. It was amazing. So I'm really bad at like compartmentalizing. So if I'm going to do a protest, like my students are going to hear about it and they're going to come to a protest. And it's been really cool to watch some of the students that came to that first SeaWorld protest with me like 5 years ago, now doing their own like activism. And they were really nervous to go to their first protest. And now I just see them out there being like inspiring activists. So I love that.
Really quick, did you want to share this? Because I labeled this part two. Did you want to share it to your page?
Sure. Let me do that so that folks can find it. Oh, I see.
We just labeled it part two, the saga.
We needed multiple parts.
Yeah.
It worked.
Cool.
Nice, thank you.
Where did you go from there? What other things have you done?
So then that snowballed, because that was a good feeling to be able to spread the word of that. Really was a good feeling. So then I started going to protests of the circus, and then I started like just different local protests of events where they were using animals for financial gain, so as products. I stayed away from ones where I was actually going to be interacting with the animals, mostly just because that it wasn't available. But suddenly in the past year or so, LA Animal Save, through the Save movement, has organized these pig vigils where people go to the trucks they're the slaughter trucks that are coming in with so many pigs in them. And the pigs are so thirsty. They're coming in for driving after hours. They're only 6 months old, and they're getting driven literally in to get slaughtered. So I really wanted to go be part of that. They're so thirsty. I wanted to give the pigs the water, give them some love and just like kind words and memorialize them. But I was very scared to do it. So I put that one off for quite some time. I kept watching kind of on the outskirts, watching my fellow activists and vegans doing it and just thinking it was going to be too emotionally heavy for me. But finally I did go. And I'm so glad that I did because this it's such an important experience that I think anybody who eats meat needs to have. Like you need to look your meat in the eye and make that connection. So now I've been doing that, and it's been so inspiring because I feel so connected to the animals. And then when I get home and I'm so emotional about it, I look at the pictures and I'm crying and I just feel so helpless. What kind of that gave rise to was when I want to express myself, I do so artistically. So I started drawing the pigs in the trucks.
Yeah,
And
show a couple of the ones that you've done recently that have.
I'm trying to see if I have some nearby. The one I have right now is the one that's on the shirt. Like, I don't know if you can see the image very well.
Yeah, you can definitely see it.
But yeah, it's this pig hand. Right now, everything's kind of like boxed up for Circle V, but like I have, this one's not on the truck, but I have this one of a pig. This was actually a pig named Elijah who was like rescued off of the truck. And he was going to be killed, and someone grabbed him, and now he is actually thriving. So that's awesome.
Quick question for you: what do you feel? And I've been there because I did before I moved out of LA, and I've only done one up here in Portland. This Save the Vigils,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember being there, and then it hit me like a brick. Like a few days later, when I started to like realize it, but there's some. Even though there's a lot of dread and like a lot of feeling like helpless, what do you feel is the hopeful part of what you're doing and what the other activists are doing with that particular movement?
I think for me personally, what it does is it helps me to raise awareness. So showing the pictures and videos from the vigil has been really giving rise to a lot of interesting conversations with people in my life. Because people are so disconnected from their food. They don't even realize that sausage or bacon had those sweet eyes and that soul and was scared and 6 months old. So for me, it's raising awareness. But even more on like a deeper emotional level for me is I can memorialize them in a way. So that's why the art comes in. So I draw a lot of pigs with like a hand, and it looks like kind of like a variation of the same piece over and over again, but it's a different pig. Pretty much I try to do one from every time I go to a vigil, because then now that pig's gone now. That pig was slaughtered minutes after I had that moment with it. But now I can use that image to help other pigs to maybe like prevent that from being their fate forever, because like it's time to stop. I mean, it's ridiculous that we still do this.
Yeah.
So yeah, if that pig's life can matter because it's saving the lives of others, then and I can help facilitate that with my artwork, then I just feel like a sense of such purpose. So
have you gotten feedback from people that have seen your art that maybe a couple of comments of people that were touched by art that might possibly have not been vegan, that might have said, wait a second, this is getting me to think? Like, have you had those experiences?
I take screenshots because on Instagram, people are so amazing. I get the sweetest messages of, yesterday I was eating bacon. I saw your piece today. I want to get it tattooed on my body. Now me and my mom are going vegan together. And like just other, like just wonderful messages about how something about the artwork I think is not aggressive in sort of helping people confront that truth. So I think the art is kind of like a nice, passive, peaceful way to just say, hey, let's look at what's really going on here. And people do. So it's been incredibly well received, and that it wasn't like my intent. Like all of a sudden now I'm like a vegan artist activist, and yeah, at first I was just expressing myself. Like, that's the only way I knew how to work through what I saw, which was horrifying to see those pigs. And so I was just like working through it for myself. And then I happen to just be the kind of person that shares like everything with everyone. So I put it out there, and it's gotten just this positive response. And people ask me for prints so they can talk to their children about veganism. And art is a less graphic way to do that than photographs and like slaughterhouse footage. So it gets the message across, and art makes us feel. I mean, there's a reason we love art, right? Like why you want to talk to artists and like make a wall. Like it makes us feel things. And I'm excited that I'm able to express what I'm feeling and then help others connect.
And you hit on a great thing. You hit on a really important thing, is that if somebody's vegan, if they're watching, and they're curious about activism, scared to think that they have to go out and like, be, with the bandana and riot gear and things like that. There's so many different types, and you can use your talents. And I think if you dabble in it a little bit, you can kind of find out what fits you the best. And that's kind of where I think a lot of people say you should probably consider, is being kind of there where you can be the most help.
Right.
And I love that about your art. Your art's beautiful. What is the medium of your art?
Well, right now, like I can show you a couple. Right now, like this one, I'm actually donating this to the Gentle Barn for their Thanksgiving auction. That's watercolor.
Okay.
That's
it's amazing detail. I'm always amazed when watercolor artists do things like that look like, I don't know, like I guess like a marker or something that could be a lot more precise.
Yeah, I mean, I like the tiny brushes, and like I use a minimal amount of water when I'm in there doing the detail. I'm a self-taught artist. I don't know what I'm doing. I have no idea. Like, you should have seen the first watercolor I did. My very first watercolor was like 2 years ago. It was horrifying. My mom and her wonderful friend were doing watercolor and trying to turn me onto it because I've always loved color pencil, which, by the way, is the one your wife likes. This one. This is color pencil.
Awesome.
Was always my thing, but my mom was like, "Let's try this watercolor," and I was so heavy-handed, and my piece looked so bad. And the thing about art was, when mine turned out bad, I didn't like art anymore. I was like, no, I don't want to do it. It's ugly. So I was like really turned off to the watercolor. And then I tried another one and painted a deer, a little fawn, and was really light-handed about it and was just like, I love this. So I don't know if I watercolor how real watercolorists do, but I just do what I think looks good. So
yeah, it's your thing. It's your thing. So quick question. We'll talk a little bit more too about the art in just a second. How do you think, in a positive light, how do you think veganism has changed you once, how do you think it's changed your view of the world?
Okay. So I'm a much kinder and healthier person than I've ever been, largely because of veganism, largely because of my loved ones and all of that. But it has helped me. Like, I've always had love for animals, but I have not always had patience and tolerance for humans. I have been known to be abrasive to the sales girl at the mall who's bothering me or whatever. So once I became vegan, and the whole sentiment behind that is that all beings have the same inherent value. Everybody has a soul and has the same value. Like, I'm not better than a frog or a pig. And so similarly, now as being a vegan, I feel like, well, also I'm not better than this person or that person. And I now just see all beings as equal, whether it's all humans or all animals. I just think we're all just here trying to avoid suffering. And yeah, I'm much kinder to my fellow human being now, and which has helped me to be a more effective teacher, because my classroom is a very safe space, and like everybody is respected, and I'm so proud of that, because my students just they can express themselves, and I don't know, it feels really good to actually care about the humans now too.
That's
Most people care about the humans, and I have to work on them about the animals, but mine was a little backwards. But now, yeah, everybody really matters.
Yeah. So now, you touched on one thing about the idea of like changing your social groups and having to, the difficulties sometimes of, family and things like that when you're vegan and you make the switch. But I want you to share your Thanksgiving story. How did you get your family to agree to a vegan meal this year?
Guys,
So
I don't know. I don't know. So I'm so excited because this is going to be our first one. Okay, so I haven't eaten turkey in like 20 years or more. So every year there's that damn turkey in the kitchen, and it's, the whole turkey carcass, and it's horrifying. And I know my mom hasn't really liked it. She has that love for animals as well, and so she's like toyed with vegetarianism along the way all this time as well. So she's not in love with the turkey thing either, but it's like, this tradition. And so when I went vegan, everybody was really wonderful in my family about veganizing every recipe. So we had the mashed potatoes, and then we had the vegan mashed potatoes and the stuffing and the vegan stuffing. And same thing with like the sweet potatoes. So we made a vegan version of everything so that I was included. And that was great. I really appreciated that effort because it was an effort to like double make each dish. But I've been saying, but we don't have to double make it because the vegan version is better and free. And like over the years, slowly, my family, my parents especially, who I'm super close with, like they're like my besties. They have been like, they'll make me the vegan food and then they eat it as well. And they're like, you know what, this is really good. So I think part of it is just giving it that time and space and kind of letting everyone like walk into it. But really, I think I might just have hit the jackpot. I'm just really lucky that my parents are very supportive of my mission, and they agree a lot with my mission. And like my mom loves the animals, my brother loves the animals, so people don't want to hurt animals. So
yeah.
they've had a little bit of time to try a bunch of cool vegan recipes. Now it's like, well, it's not actually that hard for us to make a fantastic meal out of those.
What's
So
on
like,
the menu though this year?
so I'm so excited. We have like usual mashed potatoes where we just use almond milk and like vegan butter. And then we have sweet potatoes that are super good, and vegan like stuffing. It's like that dressing stuff, and it's like cornbread based. My mom makes a great salad with fresh oranges in it. My dad usually makes homemade French bread. The thing that's happening this year instead of turkey is my brother, who's like a culinary genius, is making this vegetable Wellington. And he made it last year for Christmas for me, and it was so good. So I'm really excited. Then my mom makes this cherry pie that's vegan, and we're getting a pumpkin pie from True Foods that's vegan. So it should be a really awesome spread. Yeah, I'm
That's
excited.
cool. That's cool. So
Yeah, really supportive, and it's cool.
thank you for sharing that, and that your thumbs up to your parents. It's and family. That's super cool. And it sounds like you have good cooks. So it takes practice, like anything else. It takes practice to find your niche when you're getting rid of cheese or getting rid of meat or milk or. You also volunteer.
Yes.
Tell us about the places you volunteer, because they kind of play into your animal activism too. And pitch for the places that you volunteer.
Okay. So yeah, I like volunteer. I think I have a problem. I like to volunteer a lot. But the first place is at Red Bucket Equine Rescue, which is in Chino Hills, so just north of Orange County. And this is a place that I think you're gonna have a link to it, but we save and rehabilitate horses, mules, and donkeys. We have rescued 373 equine total. And what I do there is once a week I go feed the horses, of which there's over 100 at a time on the ranch. So it's like hardcore manual labor for a good 3 to 4 hours. But it's also that time interacting with the animals. So like I had never interacted with horses. So that has been a really beautiful experience because they're just like majestic, wonderful animals. So I do that. And then also with Red Bucket, I now serve as team coordinator. So coordinating with we have this group of wonderful volunteers. You can imagine how many people donate their time for us to serve 373 horses. These are big animals that require a lot of assistance. So it's been really great to serve the volunteers that serve the horses. And I also run their Instagram page, or I should say our Instagram page, for Red Bucket. So it's been really fun just taking a bunch of awesome pictures of the horses and putting their stories out there, because their stories are really inspiring.
What is your favorite story or your most?
Well, one time, this was last March. I don't know if it's like the most compelling, but it's one that's really in my mind right now. And it's our featured horse this year is a horse named Nelson. And my parents and my two nieces were visiting the ranch. I also give tours on Sundays. So they came in for a tour. I was giving them a tour. And when they came in, this horse was coming in off a truck, and he was like a skeleton on legs. Like you could see every bone in his body. He just looked like in his eye, like he'd given up on everything. And he was pulled from a riverbed in Riverside. And if you go to any riverbed, you're going to see horses out there. People just throw away their horses. So he was left there to die, and we got him, brought him to the ranch. And today he has gained over 200 pounds. Our average weight gain at Red Bucket's like 300 pounds. But you have to do it in a time that's healthy because they're so emaciated. So he was startling to look at. And my parents and my nieces saw that, and it was a lot for them to take in. And so what was very interesting was over the coming months, I could send photos to them monthly and say, look at Nelson today. Look at Nelson's feet. Look at, now he's got these leg wraps, because his feet, they look like Aladdin shoes. Like his hoofs were just, they were.
Oh, wow. Wow.
He was a mess. And now he is so affectionate. He has a BFF horse. He has a BFF. He has gained 200 pounds. He's like just thriving. So
That's awesome.
the horse would be dead. Like someone threw him away.
And where do these horses come from? A few of the places where the horses come from?
Yeah, so a lot of them are thrown away like that because people just like can't, like a horse. People are so excited to buy a horse, but they don't realize the financial commitment. So then they're stuck with this animal that they can't take care of. So they can't unload it anymore. So they let them go and throw them away. A lot of the time they take them down to the riverbed when they're too skinny, and they don't want to have to haul off the body. So a lot of the time it is people who underestimate the responsibility and cost of owning a horse. A lot of the horses are former race horses. So like any industry that uses animals for financial gain, the horses don't want to run that race. The greyhounds like don't want to run the race, and that tiger doesn't want to do that in the circus. Like that's for human greed. Yeah. So race horses, like, don't support horse racing, please. They drug them and they work them to their bone, like literally. And then as soon as that horse gets a small injury, they are trash. So they throw them away, they sell them to slaughter. Likewise, a lot of the time, people who show jump their horses. Now, like riding and show jumping is like another story. A lot of people treat their horses with respect, and there's just this bond of friendship. So that's a little bit different. But there are people who have this wonderful like show horse who has won them hundreds of thousands of dollars. And then once that horse is too old or has an injury, they don't want the horse anymore.
Yeah.
So we have horses at Red Bucket that are famous show horses, but no one will ever know that's who they are. They're renamed, they're in protective custody, and they're retired with us. Yeah. Wow. They retired with us because otherwise they would have been sold by the pound to slaughter.
Yeah.
I mean, they come from all over. There's a shortage of horses that in need. And
so you also do volunteering for the Wildlife Care Center?
Mm-hmm. So that is in Huntington Beach on PCH, and we rehabilitate wildlife. So one of my favorites is the possums, which are marsupials, not big rats, people, even though actually I love rats too. But any animal, wildlife that has been injured and unable to recover on its own in the wild, will take that animal in, and like maybe a possum has been attacked by a dog, and now we need to help heal the wound. once that it seems healed and the possum is ready to be released and seems like he or she would be healthy in the wild, then we do release. So yeah, I go there and feed the possums, feed the raccoons, the ducks. Baby season is really amazing. So spring, we'll have hundreds of little ducklings at a time that we'll just take care of until they're ready to go out. That's a whole different thing because at Red Bucket, it's all about giving love and affection to the animals because they need to heal emotionally with that kind of love. But at the Wildlife Center, we don't want to imprint the animals. So there's a little more distance so that when they're released, they survive. So they do have that healthy fear of other creatures like humans. So it's a different
Is that tough? Is that tough? Is that tough for you?
Yes. I want to mother all of them. So luckily there are some that are their forever home as a possum or squirrel is going to be either with the wildlife center or some type of domestic situation because they cannot be released. So I can give a lot of love to those ones, but it's really in the best interest of the animal to be rehabilitated in its natural state so that he or she can just go out and be a possum or be a raccoon. And it's really cool to watch those releases. So I'm now doing the Instagram. We just started a new Instagram for the Wildlife Care Center as well. And so I run that now as well. And I'm going to be posting a lot of releases. I just posted one of an owl we did. We released him last week and it was so fun to watch. So this owl was like found in a swimming pool. He was a disaster. And 3 days later, he's flying off doing great.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's so fun.
So do you have the Instagram for the Wildlife Care Center? Do you know what it is off the top of your head?
Wildlife Care Center OC.
Instagram. Yeah, let's Instagram. And are you going to be drawing? Are you going to be drawing an owl now?
I mean, at least 4 or 5. Yeah, I have a lot of great pictures of the owls that I'm definitely going to have to be drawing.
So are there opportunities for people to volunteer at these places? Just because I know, kind of pitch those really quick if there's particular types of opportunities or.
Yes. So either place. So one is in Chino Hills, one is in Huntington Beach. So if you're local to one of those areas, we always need something, whether it's you want to contribute an old saddle for the horses, or you want to contribute apples that are going bad in your fridge for the possums at the Wildlife Center. You can make donations like that. So like in-kind donations. I always bring my food to the possums, my carrots to the horses. But you can also volunteer your time. Like if you have a pulse, you have something to offer. So, the horses don't know or care that I'm an artist. They just know I can carry a feeder into their stall. So like, regardless of who you are, you can learn to feed a horse. If you're not comfortable with a horse, you can still be on the ground. Like we have people who do the gardening at Red Bucket and keep the ranch beautiful. We also at the Wildlife Center have people who will stuff envelopes for our like Giving Tuesday drive.
That's an excellent point really quick, because I think that, and I used to think this way, that you had to get down and dirty to be a volunteer, but there's people that have awesome administrative skills, and we help, I help a place in LA with marketing ideas and things like that. So administrative positions, they're needed just as bad as the other positions.
They totally are. And like, I love just getting in it and doing the manual ranch labor at Red Bucket. Somehow it's just weirdly rewarding 1 day a week. God bless the people who do it for hours every day. But I also love working on the calendar, and we have people who donate their photography. Working on the social media sites. Some people are like, I'm really good at Facebook. Well, you could help us. So pretty much any gift you have, you can offer it to, and it's not just these two organizations, like find what your passion is and say like, how can I help? And the way I kind of got into doing the things I wanted to do in these organizations was just showing up and saying like, hi and yes, just tell me what you need. And so they want me to scrub, like possum cages. I'm going to do it. And then eventually we're going to start talking and I'm going to be like, okay, also I can watercolor possums. If you like, you have to be willing at first to just do whatever. And like, I'm always talking to my mom about how I have to like if I get my feelings hurt or something, if I mess up on something, and I'm like, okay, it's not about me though. It's about the animal. Like, I'm
Yeah.
there to help the animals, and so I have to get away from like my ego. 'Cause that does just get in your
Yeah.
way.
And on that really quick, I just want to share something. And I haven't shared this, but I remember I was doing a volunteer event at a book fair.
Yeah.
The USC, they do the big book fair. And I was like, I want to be like in the thick of things doing this. But all I was doing was sitting there
Hmm.
directing people. And I had this epiphany that really being a volunteer is like being an activist for the animals or anything else, is it's relieving stress from somebody. You know,
Yeah.
I was showing people direction. It was making their day a little bit more stressful when they knew that they could get someplace on time or knew how to get someplace more efficiently.
Yeah.
So, you know, volunteering, it's really a complex thing, and there's so many things that people can do.
Totally.
It's really just about, you know, helping another person out in any way possible, you
Yeah.
know,
I think
or
we
animal.
totally. We think we're gonna walk in and like. I want to go and speak at these events. Like I love public speaking, so I'm like, "Hi, PETA, do you want me to public speak for you?" Oh, thanks, we got people. So like slowly I was like, okay, let me do some intern volunteering with the Humane League. Let me come in to Red Bucket and like literally just fill buckets. And honestly, like even now that I'm doing the Instagram and the art and team coordinating, I really like going in and doing the feeding of the horses. Like I like that. So every little bit that you think, oh, I'm just doing something small, I'm not making a difference. Like, yeah, you are. So
Yeah.
start somewhere, make a small difference. And the best thing to do that I always have to keep reminding myself is like, it's not about me or my ego or glory for me. It's about how am I contributing to this cause that I care about.
Yeah. And you're making a huge difference. I can, you know, I've been watching your social media for the last year and seeing people's comments, and people are really moved and touched by your art. I'm really moved and touched. So with that, where can you find your art right now?
Okay.
And this is a time for you to pitch yourself. So you can pitch the
Okay.
shirt you're wearing and the group that's helping you there. And any, you know, you can pitch your upcoming Etsy.
Yes.
So yeah, have at it.
Well, first of all, I've been watching your page for the past year as well, and I've just loved this like friendship, this vegan camaraderie, and like it's so fun to watch your fellow just good vibe people out there, like creating good vibes. So like, I love what you're doing as well. So likewise, right back at you there. It's been really inspirational to watch.
Thank you.
Um, but like yeah, for myself, again, I wasn't setting out to have, I didn't want to do art for work or business. But there's been some demand for the artwork, so I'm going to tweak it a little and work it as a way that I can raise funds for animal welfare organizations. So I have a big event this weekend with Circle V. That's put on by Mercy for Animals. I know you've talked about it. So I'm focusing on that for the next few days. And then right after that, so over Thanksgiving weekend, I'm going to work on getting my Etsy site up. I will put a link in my bio. So if you follow me on Instagram, that will be there shortly. And I'll be selling prints and like t-shirts like this one and some others. And all profits will go to animal welfare organizations. So I'm really excited about that. And it's pending right now because I'm also trying to teach some math.
Got a ton going on. I think that's all the questions I have for you. Do you have anything else that you want to say, kind of like your last will and testament before you leave? So
I first of all just thank you to my friends and family because they're so supportive. Even the non-vegan ones are so supportive of the lifestyle I've chosen, and there's so much love coming from my friends, and everyone in my family is just like so great about it. So I'm very blessed with that. But also just anyone who's thinking about going vegan, stop me in the streets or Whole Foods or Target, anywhere you see me, you can ask me like, what's a good vegan cheese or what documentary should, like, I want to talk about it and help you because at first it is a transition and then it's not, then it's just easy. So anyone thinking about it, don't be shy to reach out because it's like my favorite thing to talk about and I want to help you. It feels so much better living the kindest life possible that you can.
awesome. And we'll do one quick bonus question. I think you did these for the artist thing. Pick a number between 1 and 200. Let's see what you come up with.
Okay, I have a number.
Okay, go ahead.
11.
11. Your question is, what is your favorite city?
Okay, well, I'm gonna have to say Portland, but I'm not pandering. But you have Farm Spirit, one of my favorite vegan restaurants, fine dining. Have you been yet?
No, I haven't, but because of you, I know of it now. So
Yeah. Okay, so the best vegan culinary experience I've ever had. Now, Little Pine in Silver Lake is fantastic. I will say, Little Pine is my favorite restaurant, but Farm Spirit is a very special experience, and that's in Portland. And I love the charm of hipster Portland and all of your vegan adorableness. So me and my mom had a fun trip there recently, and it's just good vibes. So I love Portland.
and really quick, any favorite vegan food? Just something that you indulge in?
Like in general, because I eat a lot of chocolate. And judgment right now.
A good recommendation for good vegan chocolate?
Let's see, all of it, but there's a new line right now called Unreal.
Okay.
And not all of their products are vegan, but they have several, and they have like a vegan version of peanut M&Ms that are so good.
I think I saw somebody else post that too. They were like, "Wait a second, there's peanut M&Ms. You can, yeah, I'm gonna have to try those."
Yeah, it's in a blue package. I found them at Whole Foods. It's so freaking good. So
Awesome.
you're welcome.
Well, keep up the awesome art. Everybody check her out on Instagram. The links will be up. We'll actually move. This will be imported to YouTube, and it'll be imported to www.inspirationalsouls.com, where we'll put your bio and all the links for your volunteering. We can add the Etsy page when it becomes live. She's doing awesome things with art to support animals. She's doing awesome things with our future generations of kids to get them involved in math. So we appreciate it. I appreciate you taking time out of your day to come on. So thanks again. Thanks to Dexter. And I hope you guys have an awesome Thanksgiving. I'm sure I'll see pictures. So
a lot of pictures. And likewise, congrats on your new little one.
Thank you. Thank you.
The success of your page. I love what you're doing. So just keep
Cool.
doing it.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll talk soon.
Bye-bye. Thank you, everyone. That was Inspirational. This is Inspirational Souls episode number 9. That was Lindsay Lewis. Please check her out. Like I said, this will be downloaded and placed at www.inspirationalsouls.com tomorrow, and it'll have her whole interview, and it'll also have her bio and links where you can follow her and her upcoming Etsy page. Catch her this Saturday if you're going to be at Circle V. Say hi to her and check out her art. So thank you, everyone, for tuning in, and stay tuned. We'll be announcing the next guest very soon.